Hello, this is Stephen Childs, Team Fairness or Church of Fairness. So, I grew up in a Christian religion, and then I started hearing about all the other religions, the other gods of the world. I couldn't make sense of it. So, there was several things that were involved in me getting my understanding that I have now. And the understanding is basically that I'm devoted to the source of everything, and the source of everything is everything. So it's like the source is not with us, the source is us, but we're not the source. Or you can use the word God instead of the word source. So, I came up with this routine that involves 4 practices. I was saying there's 3, but there's a first practice. And the first practice we do is to give ourselves intentionally to the source that is also everything. So we're giving ourselves to the one that is everyone. It's already us. The source is already us. But we're not the source. So we give ourselves to the one source, to the one God of all. And we ask for help with our difficulties. The difficulties might be with our own self, or they might be with others. The difficulties we have with ourselves are like addictions or obsessions or negative thinking, judgmental thinking of others. Okay, so that's the first practice, is to give yourself to the one that's already you, that's already everything else. So I would hear about non-dualism in various, like in the Eastern religions. And then they're telling me about this other thing that's separate from me, that like God is in your heart and we're non-dualists. And I'm like, that doesn't make sense. That's two. That's dualism. Me and the God. So this idea that God is me, there's only one thing. And everything is it. It is everything. So now I understand non-dualism in a way that makes sense. And I understand what God is in a way that makes sense. So all the religions, they can't confuse me anymore, because I can easily remember what it's about for me. It's about God is everyone, but no one is God. Only the one, the source of all, the reason that existence is existing, the creator is the creation. So there's just one thing. Okay, so then the next practice is choose to not do anyone wrong, yourself or anyone else. Then choose to care about everyone, including yourself. That's the third practice. And the last practice is, if you make a mistake, which you will do if you're human. I think everyone makes a mistake and they have judgmental thoughts or critical thoughts of others, or they're having a hard time accepting something. So it's like you're asking for forgiveness. I'm sorry, please forgive me. Your higher self is forgiving this lower self we have that gets us in trouble with wrong thoughts. Or it's someone else that you've done wrong. So you've either done yourself wrong or you've done someone else wrong. I'm sorry, please forgive me. And so that's it. There's just the 4 practices. So the only morality is doing someone wrong. That's the only sin in the Church of Fairness. This is what we practice. And everybody's invited, and everybody's forgiven, exoneration. So it's really close to what Christianity was in the first place before the government process, the empire, took control of it. So I've had difficulties because I was scapegoated because I quit believing in the church I was born into. And so I'm immediately the one going to hell. And a lot of us realize we want to choose a concept of God that's not cruel like that. So we choose a concept of God that loves, that's loving and forgiving. So I began drinking alcoholically, so I went to thousands of AA meetings. And in the big book of AA, it says, God's either everything or nothing. So the idea that God is everything or nothing works because Buddhism, the Heart Sutra, explains how nothing is everything. So it's all, everything is just one nothing, or one everything, or one thing. All of those ways of describing it add up to the exact same thing, our experience of being a separate individual, and that's secondary to the actual foundation of what we are, that is this one thing that is also the foundation of everything else. So then I have human desires, and I want to resolve that. And so there's like, I'm addicted to falling in love, I realize. And I'm addicted to sexual feelings, lust, being turned on, pursuing getting turned on. And so I had, because of the love factor, we get broken hearts because relationships end and so forth. So finally I came to the conclusion that it's better to not have alcohol or love for another person or sex feelings. So I'm totally devoted to the one that's everything. That's what I'm devoted to. And in the East, they call it the beloved. So you can feel love for the universe. I'm going to turn the camera around and let you look at where I'm standing on this snow. So this is a cold spot because I got too warm coming up the road that's closed for the winter, and it's getting close to 60 degrees up here, and that's Cascade Mountain right there, and this is Timpanogos over here. I'm up Provo Canyon on the road to Lookout Point. So that's beautiful. So you can feel love for nature. I did dogs wrong in the past, as well as people. And I didn't understand that the dog was serving God. And I was interfering with the dog serving God in its way. I was so sorry. Please forgive me. And so the dogs forgave me. And now the dogs, all of the dogs are my best friends. And so are the cats and the trees and the mountains. Nature is me. But I'm not nature. I'm not the whole thing. I'm not the mountains. But it's what I am. Is this reality of nature is what we are. Nature's another word for source, that is, the source of things is the things. So the cause of nature is nature. So there's not a separate God. What a relief. It's just this right here. Thanks for listening.